Hello everyone and welcome to a couple of my games that I played over the weekend on a sort of a team event. Me and a couple of guys from my chess club, we went and competed against other teams, and we of course wanted to win first place, but in the end we didn't. We finished fourth. Yeah, you guys requested that I show some of the games that I played, and I'm gonna show 3 of them. Now, the format is, well, sort of a not classical, but not really rapid, 30 minutes plus 30 seconds the increment. And this is the first game that we are going to check out. My opponent was, I think, maybe rated 1800. Not really sure, but yeah, it was not the most precise game by him. So this is the first game that we played. I played pawn to e4. He went for the Sicilian defense, pawn to c5. I played knight f3, d6, and of course opened up the center. Captures. He went knight f6, knight to c3, and he went for the knight of Sicilian with pawn to a6, and I played pawn to h3, the Adams attack, something I've been trying out in my rapid games online, and I had some reasonable success. So he played e5, chased away my knight. I played knight to e2. Looks like a weird square, but later on you can shift the knight to g3, maybe to f5, and it's gonna be nicely placed here. Bishop to e7. I played pawn to g4 since he didn't stop it with pawn to h5, and now I will gladly play bishop g2, knight g3, and put my knight on f5. So bishop to e6, he fights for the d5 square. I play bishop to g2, reinforce d5, and now pawn to b5. We have bishop to e3 and queen to c7. Again, just nicely developing pieces. I played knight to g3. The engine says I should just kick away the knight with pawn to g5, but it seems like during the game I thought this was premature, and so did my opponent. So he didn't really try to stop it with h6. He played knight f to d7, sort of saying now pawn to g5 is kind of pointless, and I agreed. I played knight to f5, attacked his bishop, and he of course wanted to preserve the light square bishop, because once he captures, he opens up my light square bishop to the attack on his rook on a8. So he played bishop back to f8, and I played queen to d2. Again, the engine says I should play knight to d5, which of course is an excellent square for the knight, but I thought of a little trick when I played queen to d2, and I was hoping he would fall for it, and he did. I played queen to d2, and he played pawn to g6, attacked my knight on f5, and now I'm pretty sure you know what the idea was. Even feel free to pause the video and try to figure out the best move for white here, while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting the move I played. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is queenside castles. That's the move. Point is that now if he takes my knight with the pawn, I'm just going to play e captures on f5, attack his bishop, and also open up an attack on his rook. And there's really no good way to defend this. Whatever you play is just going to be really bad. Also, rook to a7 is not an option, as the bishop covers the a7 square. So there's really no good move here for black. Whatever you play, you block the bishop with the knight, there's a capture on e6, then your entire king side is ruined, and it's going to be an easy win. So he said, all right, I can't really take with the pawn, I'm going to take with the bishop, since my bishop will be under attack either way. What he should have played is pawn to b4. Pawn to b4 is sort of still keeps him in the game after pawn to b4, knight to d5, attacks the queen, and queen to b7. It's still sort of playable because I have to move my knight away, but it's still a very bad position for him. But okay, he played bishop captures on f5, I played e captures, attacked the rook, he played knight to c6, and I played knight to d5 now, attacked his queen. Queen to b7, he also wants to sort of keep an eye on that b6 square, but that also means that his queen is now x-rayed by my bishop on b2. So I played rook h to e1. There are a lot of winning moves here for white. I just wanted to be, well, sort of super secretive and tricky, and I was thinking about the old masters, and I just wanted to bring out another attacker into the game, and the engine agrees. It's a very nice move. He played pawn to h6. He wants to close the position with pawn to g5, but I didn't really mind. Again, you could play a lot of moves here, like f captures on g6. You could go knight to b4 to put more pressure on the knight on c6. I played pawn to f6. I just want to keep his king in the center of the board. And now the idea is that, let's say you castle queenside, I'm just going to play knight knight to e7 with check, and now you can't really move the knight, otherwise you lose the queen. So you're gonna have to play captures, and after f captures and rook to d8, I will capture the d6 pawn, and that's it. Black's defenses are completely eliminated. So instead, after f6, he played rook to d8, not castle's queen side, and now I played pawn to f4. I just want to open up the e file and go after his king. He played rook h7, sort of to have the rook help out with the defense a little bit, but it doesn't really work. I played bishop to e4. Again, many winning moves here. I just wanted to played the most annoying ones, and he was getting very low on time, so I just wanted him to be the one making the decisions. He played rook to h8, and now as I couldn't find a way to improve my position further, I went in for the kill, so to say. I played knight e7. You have to do something because your knight here is hanging, and you can't really capture. If you capture, then it's the same thing. The rook is hanging. You can't really take with the king because then queen captures on d6, and if you move the rook, still we're gonna capture. So I mean, it's not the best. So instead he played knight d to b8, having the rook defended the d6 pawn, but now my real idea was knight captures on g6. I sacrificed the knight, but now my pawns and pieces are breaking through. King to d7, I played f captures on e5, and it was in this position on move 24 that my opponent resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. e6 is coming, then with the two pawns here, I mean, it's unplayable, and of course you cannot capture with the pawn, your pawn is pinned, and if you capture with the knight, then, well, you can choose your poison, but the bishop to f5 check gets the job done very nicely. King to c7, queen a5 check, you cannot block because the bishop also covers that, so you're going to move the king, and now let's say you captured the rook or whatever, and well, you just go after the king, like something like bishop to e4 check will get the job done. So yeah, this is what happened in the first game. I won a very nice game, and in the second game I played, I believe, against the well, I don't know if he was the highest rated player there. He was a FIDE master, some 2250. He had the white pieces. I was black, but it wasn't a very long game. Just to give you a couple of quick moves, I played the hyper accelerated dragon with black. He played the Marozzi bind system with pawn to c4. He opened up the center, pretty standard position, and here after knight to c3, I went for knight to g4. Sort of, it looks like I'm giving up my knight, but I'm really just opening up an attack on his knight here. And he played this very quickly, showing that, of course, he knows his theory. Problem is that if he goes for something like knight captures on c6, I have knight captures on e3, I attack his queen, and then after knight captures on d8, I have knight captures on d1, and after rook captures on d1, I have this nasty bishop captures on c3, b captures, and king captures on d8, and the black will always be a little bit better here due to the doubled c pawn. So we traded here captures. I played knight captures on d4. He brought the queen back, and I brought the knight back to c6. Knight to e6 or even e5 is the more preferred line. I just don't know that very well, as well, those of you who have been following my rapid games on Lichess know that I've only been playing the hyper accelerated dragon for well, not that long. He played queen to d2. Of course, he wants to trade off the bishops here, and I don't have the score sheet, so I don't have the rest of the moves, but I played something like b6, which is not the recommended way to play. He played pawn to h4. I played pawn to e6. Again, not the best way to treat this position. No, I didn't play e6. I played e6, not d6. D6 would be even okay. Because in the spirit of the normal dragon, he played pawn to h5, and here I don't really I can't really recollect what I played. I played something like queen to f6. He played bishop here. I castled. He traded on g7, and I advanced the pawn to g5. So something like this, maybe queen to f6, bishop to h6. I castled kingside. Maybe a trade happened here, or no, he castled first, no, or something like this. Captures, he castled, and I played pawn to g5, and he didn't like this setup with my pawn advanced all the way to g5 and my queen sort of having access to... No, he didn't castle because I always had this queen to d4 move. Yeah, g5 was played, and queen to d4. Can't really remember the move order, but yeah, he didn't like the what he got, and he offered a draw. and I very happily accepted because I actually thought I was getting destroyed here. So that's what happened in the second game, and in the third game I again had the white pieces, and I opened with e4. My opponent was, I believe, well, I think he's maybe 55 years of age, and he's a reasonably strong player. I would say at a rating of around 2000, and he played pawn to d5. He played the Scandinavian, which is fine. I've also played the Scandinavian, but after the initial trade and knight to c3, he went back with queen to d8. I know some theory about queen a5. I myself play queen to d6, but I know nothing about queen to d8. So, I just played some normal moves. d4, he played knight to f6. I played bishop to f4. I know that bishop to f4 might not be the most precise way, but I want it to be very tricky. Remember, this is only a 30-minute plus 30 seconds increment, so yeah, you can very easily get into time trouble, and you always have to be worried about this knight to b5 idea going after the c7 pawn. So it could be very tricky, and okay, the engine says it's perfectly fine for white. He played bishop to g4, attacked my queen, which is sort of in the spirit of the Scandinavian, only I don't know if you should play it here with the queen here, because if the queen has been developed, then okay, you play bishop g4, knight to c6, you can castle queenside. It kind of makes sense, but okay, I didn't want to play pawn to f3. I wanted to play knight to f3, sort of maybe to invite him to capture, because if he captures, I will gladly give up my d4 pawn for the b7 pawn, as then he's just lost. So of course he just played pawn to e6. I played pawn to h3, bishop to h5, and now I should play pawn to g4 followed by knight to e5. It's the standard way you play in pretty much all of the openings. But I played queen to d3 first. Again, not terrible, but maybe not the best. I wanted to have the option of going castles now, and also queen to b5 check. I thought having these two options was very good for me. So he played pawn to c6, stopped queen to b5, and I played knight to e5 now. Now preparing g4 and also keeping around that g6 square. He played bishop to b4, and I played pawn to g4, attacked his bishop, bishop to g6, and I played knight captures, h captures, and now just bishop to g2. So okay, he has the semi-open h file for his rook, but I don't really mind. I can castle kingside, I can castle queenside, and most importantly, I have the bishop pair. This is what I was going for. I have the bishop pair, and I have to figure out what's the most optimal way to make my bishop pair fully operational. He played knight to d5, attacking the knight twice and also going after my bishop, and I could go back bishop to d2, but I went bishop to g3, also to stop some queen h4 ideas. He played knight to d7. Also, if queen to g5, you can just castle. It's not really a problem. And then, okay, you could go for bishop captures, pawn captures, and knight f4 with a double attack on the h3 pawn. He could actually win one of my bishops. Captures, but okay, rook a b1, and it's still, a better position for white. He would have to go back, queen to c7, and then, we just continue the game. But after bishop g3, he played knight to d7, and now we both just castle kingside. So castles. Knight to e4. I finally get the knight out of c3, so he can't trade, and now I have the option of c3. I can play pawn to c4. A lot of moves for him to worry about. He played knight 7 to f6, went after my knight on e4, and here, if you ask the engine, there are three good ways to continue. Knight to c5 sort of being the main idea, but I thought it was a bit weird, because after b6 you have to play pawn to a3, and the trick is not that after bishop captures and d captures, b captures, you have this queen a6 move, and now you really are harassing his queen side. But okay, it's not like white is winning or anything, it's just a nice line. The other one is pawn to c4 and pawn to f3. Those are the top three engine moves. I played pawn to f3. Again, due to the time format, I wanted to be as tricky as possible and just play a solid move without me being the one that forces any trades, because I'm a big fan of if it or what's it called, like don't trade for trading's sake, or or to take as a mistake or something like that. But yeah, I played pawn to f3, and he played bishop back to e7, just trying to be solid. I played pawn to a3, and he now went back, knight to e8. Now he can remaneuver the knight over to d6 if needed. He can advance the f pawn. All in all, a very solid position. I played rook a to d1, and he played bishop to h4. Also, one of the ideas of bringing the knight back. He wants to trade bishops. I played bishop back to h2. Could be a little bit tricky because I give him all of these dark squares, but I'm planning to put maybe a knight there, so not to worry about. He played pawn to g5. Now, also preparing the knight to come to f4. I played pawn to c4, kicked away the knight, and knight to f4. And okay, he does win one of my bishops. So from my dream of having a fully operational bishop pair, I now have this setup where I could play queen to e3 or queen to d2 and try to keep the bishop, but I decided that it was best not having this knight in front of my king. He played g captures, and now I played queen to d2, went after the pawn, and now with queen to c7, his position is actually very nice. His bishop can always go back, and it's very tricky. But he played pawn to g5. He locked his bishop on h4 with the idea of trying to free it afterwards with pawn to f5, but now it's just very, very hard to play. Again, the position is now equal and can be played, but it's much better to not close your bishop like this. I played queen b4, he played queen to c7, and I played rook to d3 with ideas of doubling up on the d file. Also, rook to b3 could happen. Also having more defense along the third rank, so I thought it was a useful move. He played pawn to a5, attacked my queen. I played queen c3. Now again, if I strike with d5, I might have some knight f6 check ideas, and so he played pawn to f5, which was his idea when he trapped his bishop on h4. I played knight to c5, now threatening knight captures on e6 to fork his rook and the queen, and he played knight to g7. Just defending that e6 pawn. And now I should just continue with my plan of doubling up, but I played pawn to d5. He was also getting very low on time, so I wanted to be quick and force him to make some decisions. He played c captures, I played c captures, and he pinned my knight with queen to b6, and now he's preparing to attack it with rook to c8. And here I automatically played king to h1, but the correct response was pawn to d6. Now it looks a bit weird, but after rook f to c8, you can play b4, and after captures, you're actually very impressive here. Your knight cannot be attacked, and you have a defended passed pawn on d6. I wasn't all that worried about it, because after king h1, I thought, okay, he still can't play e captures on d5. I'm just gonna play knight d7 and fork his rook and queen. So that's probably why I played king to h1 first. But he played rook 8 to c8. The correct move was rook 8 to d8, just to keep an eye on this d6 square. But again, time format, you can't afford all the time in the world. He played rook 8 to c8. I played pawn to b4. Now just defended my knight because my knight is hanging. He traded once, captures. And now, there's no real good way to continue. If he moves this rook here, then he gives up the f6 square, and if he moves this rook here, then he just allows d captures on e6, so it's not the best. So he played f captures on g4, again in the spirit of the plan of trapping his own bishop on h4. He wants to somehow free it. I played f captures on g4. Again, this does not help his bishop. He played rook f to d8, and I played d captures on e6. And now my position is completely winning. He traded rooks, rook captures, queen captures, and he played queen captures on b4, now preparing to win my knight. But now there is one way to win this, so even feel free to pause the video and try to figure it out while I give you a couple of seconds. So, if you were able to do it, congratulations on not rushing anything. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is knight to d7. Here I actually spent a couple of minutes trying to figure out if there was anything to e7, but of course there isn't. After he takes the knight and I play queen to d8 with check, he can just block with knight to e8, and you don't have any bishop to e4 check action, so it's completely pointless. If you try bishop to d5 check now, king g7, and there's no continuation. So of course I played knight to d7, and now there's not much he can do. Queen to g6 is coming, knight to f6 is coming, so he played queen to e7 in order to stop queen to g6, because he's just gonna capture the e6 pawn, but it doesn't matter. Queen to g6 is still winning. He captured here with the queen, and here I almost made a mistake, and my hand already went for the bishop on g2, and then I almost grabbed it, and I was like, wow, what an idiot brain. What is my hand doing? Because my idea was bishop to d5, sort of with the skewer, and after queen captures, knight to f6 check, winning his queen, without realizing that queen captures on d5 was actually checked to my own king. So I stopped my hand mid-air, and I switched the move order. I played knight to f6 check, and now of course it's completely winning, because if king h8 I have checkmate, and if king to f8 as was played in the game, then comes bishop to d5, and now the only square where he can defend checkmate on f7 is the e7 square. He played queen e7, and I delivered knight to h7 checkmate. So it was a pretty tricky game where he made this crucial error of trapping his own bishop on g5, probably thinking that his attack will be strong, and even if he goes into the endgame, he will be able to free it on afterwards. But yeah, it was much better playing queen to c7 and just keeping that pawn, on g7 with the dark square bishop being able to get back into the game. So this was game 3. In game 4, I played as our team, our club brought 2 teams, one sort of senior members and one junior members, and my opponent was, well, I don't know how old he is. I'm guessing he could be 9. And we played a very nice game. I again played the hyper accelerated dragon, but nothing too interesting about that one. So we're gonna skip that one, and the one that I want to show you is the one probably where I played the worst chess, but it's a very interesting game. It's my game from the final round. My opponent was maybe 15 years old. He was higher rated than me, and probably objectively a better player, which you'll see from the game. I played pawn to e4, he played pawn to e5, and here we reach a very interesting moment after bishop to c4. He played bishop to c5. I did not go for the Evans Gambit, and the reason I did not go for the Evans Gambit because for his team, a former member from my team was playing, who knows I play the Evans Gambit, and I thought, well, in order for their team to grab a very valuable point, my former team member could have informed him that on the Gioco Piano I play the Evans Gambit. So I decided to deviate from this and actually play pawn to c3, the main line of the Gioco Piano, which I never play. But I thought it'd be the safer choice than going into his preparation. But okay, maybe that was completely in my head. Knight to f6 he played, and here I just castled. I know that here d3 is played, h3 is played, you have to castle, then you develop the bishop, the standard a4 b4 a5 b5, you have the knight b to d2, knight f1, knight to e3, or bishop to e3. So these are all moves that we see every game that I analyze, but I castled here. I didn't go for d3. And now, my pawn here is hanging, but I thought, yeah, I mean, if this was any good, everyone would capture that. But my opponent actually captured it, and I was really weirded out by this. And he was also weirded out by me giving up this pawn, but I thought, surely it cannot be captured. But he did capture it, and now, how do you play this? Well, I played pawn to d4. It's, how I've learned from the old books. When someone captures a pawn in the Gioco Piano, you play d4. But the real way to play this is bishop to d5. It exists as a gambit, but you have to play with bishop to d5, and then he will capture on f2. And after I capture and king captures, he will play knight to e7, kick away my bishop, and after I move the bishop, e4, knight goes back, and then pawn to d5. So an incredibly sharp way of playing, but objectively black should have a little bit of an edge here. However, after knight captures on e4, I played pawn to d4. He played captures. No, he didn't play captures. Sorry. After d4, he played pawn to d5, which is definitely the way to go. And I thought about some moves here, like if I traded everything, of course, he's not going to capture with the knight and give me the e5 pawn. He's going to capture with the king, and I really don't have anything here. I could maybe give a check, king e7, and then after knight a3 going after the pawn, he could just defend it. So it's not nothing really happening here. Another move I could do is just go for knight captures on e5, and it is objectively the best way to play this. After, let's say, bishop to b3, his bishop will be hanging, he's gonna castle. I'm down a piece, but I will recover one of them. Let's say f3, knight f6, and now I'm gonna capture. D captures on c5, and okay, you can play this. But I played bishop to b5, and now he played e captures on d4, c captures, and bishop to d6. And here I realized, well, he's just up a pawn. I really have no tangible compensation for his extra pawn. So, okay, I played knight to c3. Not going after the pawn because the pawn cannot be captured. If I capture, he's just gonna play bishop captures on h2 and pick up that piece. So it's not really winning a pawn. So he just castled. He doesn't have to worry about the d5 pawn, and I played knight captures on e4. D captures on e4, and I played knight to g5, trying to win back my pawn, but also maybe thinking of ideas like queen to h5. He played knight captures on d4. Again, the idea is the same. If queen captures, he's just going to play bishop captures on h2 and win my queen. So I played queen to h5. I threatened checkmate, and my point is that if he plays h6, I can just capture, and also my bishop is now defended. So he's just going to be up one pawn, and okay, he's better, but I really don't have any options here. I can't really be picky. But he played bishop to f5, which is even stronger. So now I can't even win my pawn back, and he's defending checkmate. So I play bishop to c4. I put more pressure on that f7 pawn, and he plays bishop to g6. He kicks my queen away, queen to g4, and now knight to c6. Here, he wants to play knight to e5, attack my queen, the bishop. He wants to eliminate even more stuff from the board as he is up 2 pawns. And here, I thought about what I could play. My position seemed, desperate at best, and I decided to play pawn to e5. Pawn to f4, guarding the e5 square, sort of stopping knight to e5. And he was already very low on time here when I played this f4 move, because as you've seen, there's quite a lot to calculate here, and he was mostly making sure that he's not running into some deep preparation by me, when in fact I've only blundered a pawn in the opening. Yeah, here he spent almost all of his time, and he got down to like 30 seconds on the clock. But it's not that big of a deal, because it is a game where you have a plus 30 seconds increment. So every time you make a move, you gain additional 30 seconds. I thought he would just play e captures on f3 en passant, and then I would play knight captures, again keeping an eye on the e5 square. He's better, and I really didn't think much of this game. But he actually played bishop captures on f4. Which is, again, still good for black. He wants to play queen to d4 check and to win my light square bishop, but I'm not giving it up just like that. And here, I also had to take into account that he was playing an increment. He only had 33 seconds on the clock. I think he made this move with 3 seconds on the clock, which means that he will have 33 seconds to make a decision once I make my move. So if I just capture the bishop, I know that he will play queen to d4 check and win the bishop back, gain additional time. So I played knight to e6, just to make it a little bit interesting. Again, it's not much, but it does force him to at least consider moves like bishop captures on h2. Does he want to, win a pawn while as he will have to give back the piece. But no, in the end, he played f captures on e6. I played bishop captures on e6 check, king to h8, and now bishop captures on f4. He played queen to d4 with check. It is the best move, and also he has to gain additional time. I played king to h1, and he played knight to e5, going after my queen. I played queen to g3, now with the double attack on his knight. He played knight to d3, attacking my bishop, and I played bishop to e3. I want to keep material on the board, as that's my only option. And I still have the bishop pair. I'm safeguarding them, so I was very happy about that, at least. He played queen e5, of course, offered a queen trade while attacking my bishop, and I quickly moved the queen to h3, just making him burn more time. Capturing an f8 or even capturing an e5 is objectively better, but I was playing on his time. He played knight to f4, now forcing a trade, because now my bishop and queen are attacked by the knight as well. And I had to capture. Bishop captures on f4. He played rook captures on f4. And here I thought, okay, I'm kind of dead in the water here. There's not much more that I can do. But then I spotted something, a tiny, shiny glimmer of hope, and played bishop to c8. It's a dumb-looking move, but, it can be tricky a little bit, as now his rook is not guarding the back rank, so it could be a little bit tricky. He still hasn't played h6. He could get checkmated or something, but he, not to be tricked, he just played pawn to e3. He advances the pawn, and here I make a move that, gets me back in the game. I play queen to g3, which looks like a really stupid move, because, or silly at least, because he can capture with check, and after I capture, he can trade queens. But the problem is I have rook to f8 checkmate. So that's the idea here. So what do you think after queen to g3 is the move that he should play? Even without pausing the video, you know, he did have a little time on the clock, but maybe you guys can figure it out. So the only move that you know, keeps a winning position for him is bringing the queen back to e8, and the point being that after queen to but not right away. Sorry, first sorry, queen to g3. Yeah, the move you have to play is rook captures on f1 check, and after rook captures, now bring the queen back to e8, and now after bishop captures on b7, sort of me winning back some material, attacking the rook, he has queen to b5, attacking the bishop and attacking the rook, threatening checkmate, and this is now, of course, completely winning. I'm gonna play queen to f3 with the idea that if he takes the not if he takes, I'm just threatening checkmate on f8, and he will have to find rook to g8, and this is how he retains a winning position. But after this queen to g3 move with 30 seconds on the clock, it's a little bit much to calculate. He played rook captures on c8, and now I'm back in the game. I played rook captures on f4, and he again tried to trick me. He played pawn to e2. He sort of blundered the queen, but if I go for the queen, then he just checkmates me. Rook to f1 check, and now I have to take, and then he brings a rook or a queen to checkmate my king. So I freed up my king. I played pawn to h4, and he played queen captures on b2. Rook to e1 was played, and now queen captures on a2. Pawn to h5. Now, grabbing the other pawn was a bit of a mistake for him, because now I have pawn to h5. And the only way to defend is you can't go here because you block your rook, and then I have rook to f8 check. He has to move the queen back, and then I win the queen. He has to play bishop f7. So the queen defends the bishop. And now after h6, he has to find rook to g8. But these are crazy moves to find in, you know, with 30 seconds on the clock. So he played bishop captures on h5, and I played rook queen h3, just, you know, attacking his bishop and the rook. And now I'm the one who's winning. But the drama does not end here. Rook to d8 was played. I of course captured the bishop. He played queen to d2 with a double attack on both of my rooks. I played queen h4, defending both of my rooks and attacking his rook on d8. And get this. Here I thought, okay, is this it? Is this game now over? No, he plays pawn to g5. And now I'm like, seriously, this move exists? I have to capture, and then he captures the rook on e1 with check. And there's really nothing better. I mean, whatever I play, there's no good move for me here. So queen captures on g5 is objectively best. I did play it. He played queen captures on e1 with check. I played king h2, and now he plays the only move that keeps him in the game. Queen h1 check. I played king captures, and he brings a queen into the game with check. I played king to h2, and now he plays this super tricky queen to d1 move, where I could not find the winning continuation, and I actually offered a draw. Played a couple of more checks, like queen f6 check, queen back to check, and here I offered him a draw, as I could not calculate how to win this game, and I also got it down to like 30 seconds on the clock. But you know, you guys are in your own homes, so hopefully not driving or anything, so feel free to pause the video and try to find the only move that wins the game for white while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding this very nice move. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is rook to g4. This is the only move that wins the game. The problem is, and this is why he played queen to d1, he wanted to defend his rook while also keeping an eye on the g4 square. The problem is I play queen f6 check, king g8, I don't have rook g4 checkmate. He covers that, and there's no way to prepare it. Whatever you play, let's say you prepare it with rook f3, you want to play rook g3, already there's queen d6 check. No, okay, here in this line it would still be winning because you don't get to trade queens. Rook to g3 also blocks. But if you, yeah, it's not maybe the best. But yeah, no, it seems that I could actually play it like this. Yeah, yeah, that's weird. Yeah, even this was fine. So, but yeah, in that position, from that position, rook to g4 is the only way to play. But yeah, you could also do it like this and play rook to f3, obviously. Yeah, which is, you know, very sad that I didn't find it, but he played it very firmly, and he played queen d1 like, you know, there's nothing there. But the point is that after rook g4, and I did consider this move, probably why I agreed to a draw, I saw queen to d6 with check, and now, of course, if pawn to g3, you have queen d2 check, and a queen trade is forced, but the real move is king to h3. And now, after queen to d3 check, you have king h4, and now there's no defense. Checkmate is being threatened, and if you block with queen g6, then rook is hanging, so, you know, it's it's a completely winning position, but he tricked me very hard with his queen to d1 move. I believed him that he found a draw, and I was very impressed by his queen to d1 move. But yeah, he tricked me very hard there. So yeah, in the end, out of the five games that I played, I was able to win 3 and get 2 draws. So I went undefeated, although I am far from impressed by the way I played. So yeah, those were the games. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Not a lot of time, but I should still be able to play a more precise game even with 30 plus 30. But I'm used to playing 1.5 hours plus 30 seconds in a classical event. So this was also pretty fast for me. But yeah, those were the games. Hope you got something out of them and that you enjoyed them. If I play any more, I will very happily share them with you. So sorry about a bit of a longer video, but we did check out 4 games. I would like to thank David Gasparian, Yoon Young, Jeffrey Manser, Kevin Hawkins, and Daniel Heist for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.